Welcome in. It is day 267, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going over a game that primarily I played only on Board Game Arena. However, a friend of mine did own the game physically and lent it to me so that I could review it for you guys today. The game is called Targi. Now, I'm not particularly a huge fan of Targi. First time I played was a horrifically bad game. I had no idea what was going on. I got destroyed. But then I played with my friend online instead of just playing randomly and not knowing the game. And I picked it up, and I actually really enjoyed the game for a few plays. I understood what was going on. The game made a lot more sense to me. And at the end of those plays, I made the determination, I never want to play this game again. It just wasn't for me. But the concept of the game is you basically have a 5x5 grid. The four corners don't matter. They're just limiting factors. And you are making the determination to place out your pawns. Now there's a thief pawn who moves around the board on the outside, and he just blocks. Nobody can go where he is. You each have 3 pawns. So you're going to, starting an exchange, go, okay, somebody places a pawn. Once they do, their limiting factors are, obviously, you can't go where the thief is. And once you've placed on one of those outside areas, now another player places. And the place you placed, they cannot place on it or across from it. So when you pick here, the opposite end cannot be grabbed anymore. Now you place one, then them, then you, then you. Now once you've done this, you're going to have people out in a direction where you have to have at least one person on 2 different sides, and you're going to have them combined twice. So you're going to get the 3 spots that you placed on, plus 2 combinations where they meet, which will allow for 2 spots in the middle. You're going to get resources, money, but eventually you're also going to start trying to get cards for your tableau. You're going to play the game until you have 12 cards in your tableau, and when you do, that ends the game. When you or your opponent does. And once you do, you're going to use all your tableau cards to figure out where the scoring comes and figure out who wins. It's a pretty simple game, but there is a lot of thinking that goes on here. This game has a lot going on. To me, it's a lot of reading, and if you're not willing to, I don't want to say specialize in the game, but if you're not willing to commit enough time to the game to start to get like a second sense, I don't want to say 6th sense, but a sense, just a general sense in there. Because if you don't play it enough, you're kind of relearning every time, and that's not a great way to play this game. You need to know what you're doing off the bat. This isn't a Ticket to Ride where you can pick it up and by midpoint of the game know what you're doing enough that you're killing somebody. This isn't Dune Imperium where there's a little bit of luck factor. This is set up, and this is a chess game. This is a game where you need to know what you're doing, because if you mess up on one turn, it could cost you the whole game. You have to be strategic. You have to be paying attention to how your opponent's being strategic. You have to understand not only what you can do to get points for yourself, but how to block your opponent from getting huge points for themselves. It's a real, commit game. I'm a huge chess player, but I've committed 33 years of my life to playing chess. I don't go out and play professionally in tournaments, but I played in chess teams in high school, tournaments through college. I play with people all the time. If you ask me the most played game in my life, it's chess. If you ask me how many games of chess I've played, if I haven't played a minimum of 2,000 games, I'd be shocked. Really? I might be approaching 10,000 in that, because between clubs, holidays, legit tournaments, playing online chess, I've logged games like you can't believe. So I'm an expert in chess. But Targi, I'm not committing that kind of time to it. And even if I was willing to commit 1% of that time to it, if I was willing to try to get in just 100 plays of Targi, that might be enough if I were willing to do that, but only if I was willing to do that in maybe a 2-year span. So you're talking about playing Targi once a week. I just don't have the time for that. And that's what I think this requires for you to get great at it. And if you're not willing to get great at it, and you want to be good at it, you still need to play at least 10, 15 games a year. I don't have the time for that. It's just not a game on my radar to play that much. So for me, Targi falls out. So this is one that is not on my forte of games. However, let's go in, let's judge on our 7 categories, and let's see where this one lands for us. When it comes to the art, this is a very distinct cover. It's interesting because part of me wonders, I don't know if I really love the cover. But another part of me goes, it grabs my eye. I wanted to play it because of the cover. I had seen this cover in stores for years and kept being like, man, what's that game? I don't necessarily think the art's bad, but I don't think it's great. I I don't know if the art makes me want to play the game, but it grabs your eyes to the game. And once you're looking at it, and you flip this around and you look at the back of the box, you go, man, what is this game? I don't know. I think the box does an okay job. I think that the setup does an okay job. I'm going to say it's mediocre and just above the line. I'll give it a thumbs up. Your components. Primarily, you're dealing with some cards and then the layout of your board, which is all cardboard. Very good quality. Then you've got your thief and your pawns, which are all wooden. Good quality as well. I have no complaints on those. Thumbs up. Your price. This game's right in that $25 range, and it's going to be out there. You're going to find this in 4 out of 5 board game stores. You're going to find it in Barnes & Noble. You're probably going to find it at Target. It's available online. It's available. It's easy to grab. And for those of you who like the style game, it's worth its price. Thumbs up. Difficulty. This is not one I recommend to kids or beginners at all. Absolutely not. I do think this is an expert level game and an experience level game. And I think that not all experienced are going to love it because they're going to have to, when I think expert, I think you need to be like a chess player. You need to be expertly playing this. Experienced players, I don't know if it's going to hit for all of you because I think you do need to commit more time than you realize to it. That being said, I still think it's okay for experienced players. I just think it's only going to hit for maybe half of you. And half the experienced and the experts isn't enough for me. Difficulty has to be a thumbs down. Replayability. I think that the whole point of this is that for those of you who want to play it, it is one you need to commit time to, which means replayability will be high. If you like the game and you want to get great at it, you're going to be playing this game at least once a week. Probably more so a few times a week. Thumbs up on the replayability. Keys to victory. So it's all about how you're balancing. You're placing these 3 pawns. You have to get ready for the idea that you're going to have this thief shifting. You're exchanging with your opponent. You have to pay attention to what their tableau has, what your tableau has, what's going to make you points, what's going to get them points. Is there a way that you can place something that will give you a shot at what you want, but also help you prevent an opponent from getting it? And when you're doing that, you might look at it and go, okay, well, I know I want this. I know my opponent needs that. So this makes sense to go to. However, I also realize that if I do this and I block them on this line, well, they can still go in that line to block, to go after their piece. But if they know they can't get it anymore, what other line are they going to go to? So you might have to consider, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to block this line for my piece because now I can go and stop them here later. But if you do that, they might go, okay, well, they've blocked for their piece here. I'm going to block them out, and now I have a shot at my piece. So it's a lot of trying to figure out this triangle of your pieces and be like, how can I place it in a way that gives me a shot? And the best way to do that is to say, I know what I want. I know what they want. I know what my backup option is, and I think I see what their backup option is. And if you can do that, that's where the keys start to kick in, because now you might go, okay, now I know where I can place that guarantees that I can get something I want, or guarantees I can block them and still a shot at something I'd be okay with. So I do think the keys to victory are there. It's all about that placement and how much you pay attention. Thumbs up. Unique. Is the game unique? It's extremely unique. There's really not a game that does the placement, the gathering of resources, the paying out into your tableau the way this one does. It's extremely frustrating. If you're not great at this game, but you want to be great at the game, it can be very, very frustrating. But I think that that's the point. When I play chess and I play with people who want to be good but they're not, it frustrates them because they can't understand why they weren't able to see this bigger picture. And that's what happens to me in Targi. I'm trying to play and I just don't see this bigger picture that's happening. And it's just because I'm not to that level of experience with it. You're only going to have so many games that you truly can sit down and when somebody asks you, say, Not that you're an expert gamer, but you're an expert at the game. If you ask me, do I think I'm an expert gamer? I do. I think I'm an expert gamer. But if you say, what games are you expert at? Chess. That's it. There's no other game that I'm going to legitimately say I'm an expert at it. I think I'm approaching expert on Azul, and I think I'm approaching expert on Ticket to Ride. But if you take those two and you actually ask me, am I an expert? I'm sure an actual expert would crush me. Now, I'd also get crushed by a regular expert in chess. However, I've played with a master before, and I think that is a higher level than an expert. That's something different. So then you go, well, what's an expert? An expert is somebody who's not on that master's level, who's not a pro player, but who of gamers plays a lot and knows what they're doing and can strategize. I consider my father-in-law an expert. I beat him 2 out of 3 times, but I consider him an expert of chess. Whereas I have players I played with on my chess team in high school who I would never have said they're an expert. So that's an expert. And for me, when it comes to the unique factor of this, you need to be an expert to take advantage of it. It's just not something I can do. But is it unique? Absolutely. Thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? I think that this game is one that you really shouldn't jump into it willy-nilly. I think that you never should buy it until you've played it, and you need to play it like 10 times first. Go on Board Game Arena and play it there. But I do think there's something about the physical game that helps you learning. So I would try it on Board Game Arena with a friend. Go watch a playthrough. Go jump online, play together. Then start to play with people you don't know once you think you at least know enough of the rules. And if you get to a point where you feel like you really like it, then buy the game. But in general, I wouldn't leap at it because it's not too expensive. It doesn't take up too much space. But it is annoying to have a game that is really requiring you to be an expert player. And to not be able to play because not only do you not feel you're an expert, but if you approach that and then you don't have an opponent you can play with. I didn't have an opponent for chess for many years, and it was very frustrating. So I left all my chess stuff at my parents'. Now I have an opponent who I play with a few times a year, so I brought it over into my house. But it's not one that I get to play as often as I'd like, and it would stink to have this game in my collection to become an expert and to not have an opponent. Well, it has been day 267. We've been speaking about the game Targi, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.